Apple's iPhone is getting its largest redesign yet, both to its features and release timetable. Here's what's happening to the company's primary product. Also, the Mac Pro is on the back burner, and Tesla is finally adding support for CarPlay. Lastly, Apple's longtime operating chief winds up his career at the corporation. Last week in Power On, Apple plans substantial new satellite-powered features for iPhones and other devices. Apple Incorporated's iPhone is undergoing the largest makeover in its history, with the company planning to unveil 3 all-new models over 3 straight years. Despite complaints that Apple has grown unduly dependent on the iPhone, while lagging behind in artificial intelligence and other developing fields, the corporation is doubling down on its flagship product. That involves speeding up the pace of innovation. After half a decade of incremental changes and controversial choices, like the iPhone 15's titanium case, a thorough rethink of the device began taking shape this past September. It started with the all-new iPhone Air, debuted with revamped iPhone 17 Pros. As I've previously predicted, this disruptive time will continue with Apple's first foldable iPhone next fall, followed by an altogether new high-end model in 2027. That device will feature a curved glass panel, with a camera that's buried behind the surface. But beyond updating the goods themselves, Apple is modifying when it releases new iPhones. First, a little history. The main iPhone models used to come in the summer, June or July, an approach that held until the iPhone 4s in 2011. That's when Apple began distributing the phones in the fall. Though the adjustment came from delays connected to iOS 5, iCloud, and the Siri speech assistant, it turned out to be beneficial. The adjustment synchronized Apple's largest product with the important holiday buying season. Now it's time for another shakeup. In October of last year, I said that Apple will shift away from the annual fall extravaganza that it made so famous over the last decade. The model had been successful because it streamlined planning and marketing and made Apple's revenue predictable to Wall Street. However, the fall release cycle soon became a hardship. By compressing so many product launches into the same period, Apple had less possibilities to spread out revenue across the year. It also taxed its marketing and engineering departments and overburdened suppliers. The problematic deployment of Apple Intelligence in 2024 underlined how that approach was taking a toll. In recent years, including 2025, Apple has introduced 4 primary iPhones, 2 Pro models, and 2 mid-tier variants in the fall. And it occasionally released a lower-cost SE or E model in the early part of the year. But in 2026 and beyond, the company's smartphone release timetable will look dramatically different. Apple aims to debut 3 high-end models, the iPhone 18 Pro, iPhone 18 Pro Max, and a new foldable in fall 2026. Then, around 6 months later, it will push out the iPhone 18, iPhone 18e, and potentially an updated iPhone Air. I expect this pattern to continue for years to come, with Apple unveiling between 5 and 6 new models annually. The information alleged that a second-generation iPhone Air has been postponed from next fall into 2027 in order to incorporate a second rear camera, and that a vapor chamber and B-Fair battery aren't in the plans. The news outlet also claimed weak sales as a rationale for the scheduling adjustment. But from what I've heard, the second-generation iPhone Air hadn't actually been planned for next year, at least not in recent months. So this wasn't a delay owing to the phone's sales performance. The fact that Apple titled the handset the iPhone Air rather than the iPhone 17 Air showed that it didn't want to tie the product to an annual release timetable. I'm informed that the main focus of the second Air will be a switch to a 2nm chip rather than big structural changes. The chip change could help improve the Air's battery life, the major complaint of the initial iteration. Adding a second rear camera for ultra-wide photos is technically doable, however, I think that idea weird. The phone's plateau area, where the camera is located, is already packed. Redoing that entire area merely to add the least used iPhone camera seems like a lot of work for a phone that few people are buying. The only scenario where this makes sense is if the foldable iPhone's dual rear camera architecture eventually trickles down to ordinary models. Apple built the Air assuming it would make up 6% to 8% of new iPhone sales, I'm told. That approximately matches the performance of the iPhone 16 Plus model that it replaced. Apple highlighted the Air aggressively during its September keynote presentation, but it hasn't done much promotion since then. It's evident that Apple never really anticipated much attention for the Air. Like the iPhone mini models of 2020 and 2021, the Air is a product that certain noisy Apple commentators on social media said they wanted. Yet when it came down to make purchasing decisions, customers sided with the significantly more practical Pro models that offer superior battery life, cameras, and heat management. So, that's all we know for now. We'll be sure to keep you updated as soon as we have more information. Thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow in another. Goodbye, and peace out.